Hello class. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be gone today. You guys should have your day 2 notes out, and we're going to get going with the notes on that stuff. If you weren't here yesterday, make sure you get a packet from the sub. We're going to skip the warm-ups just because we did those yesterday. We're going to get straight to the new stuff. So like for number 3, it says the ratio of the angles of a triangle is 3 to 6 to 9. And find the measure of the smallest angle. So what's going to happen is when they tell you that there's a ratio of angles, 3 to 6 to 9 doesn't mean that the angles are 3, 6, and 9. It means that it's one of the angles is a multiple of 3, one of the angles is a multiple of 6, and one of the angles is a multiple of 9. So what that means is the one angle is going to be 3 times something, 3x. The other angle is 6x, and the other angle is 9x. And since they're all angles in a triangle, we know that there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So all 3 of those angles are going to add up to 180. If you add those up and solve, you're going to get 18x equals 180. And divide by 18, x is going to be 10. Once you get x is 10, we're finding the smallest angle. Well, between 3x, 6x, and 9x, 3x is going to be the smallest. 3 times x, 3 times 10, you're going to get 30 degrees. So that's going to be your smallest angle, is 30. Number 4 is pretty similar. It's got the sides of a quadrilateral are in the extended ratio 7 to 4 to 9 to 3, and the perimeter is 115 meters. Find the length of the longest side. So this time we're talking about sides, and we know that the perimeter is 115. So obviously in a perimeter, you add up all the sides. The sides are not going to be 7, 4, 9, and 3. They're going to be multiples. So we're going to have 7x plus 9x plus 4x plus 3x. All of those sides are going to add up to equal 115. When you add up all the x's, you're going to get 23x equals 115. Divide by x, you're going to get 5. Sorry, divide by 23, and you get 5. And then it says to find the length of the longest side. Well, between 7x, 9x, 4x, and 3x, 9x is the biggest. So 9 times 5, you're going to get 45 meters. Don't forget units. So meters would be your units. Number 5, you just kind of have to read carefully. It says in a pet store, the ratio of fish to birds is 20 to 3. So I'm going to make it into a ratio. 20 is the fish and 3 is the birds. Okay, fish to birds is 20 to 3. And then it tells you there's 24 birds and we need to figure out how many fish there are. Well, what we're going to do is make another ratio. And since it's 24 birds, you want to make sure that it goes on the correct piece. Since birds is on the bottom on the left, birds will have to be on the bottom on the right as well. So 24 goes on the bottom, and then you can use whatever variable you want for the fish. And then what we're going to do is cross multiply, just like we did yesterday. So we've got 3 times x, and set it equal to the other diagonal, so 20 times 24. When you do 20 times 24, you're going to get 480. And then you divide both sides by 3. And you're going to end up with 160. And again, we're finding out how many fish. So 160 fish. Don't forget units. So fish is going to be needed. Let's see. Number 6, we've got an ice cream parlor sells sundaes for $2.25 each. In 3 days, they sold 127 sundaes. If they continue this rate of sales, how much money will they make on Sundays in the month of June? All right, so what happens is we know that the price of the sundaes is $2.25 each, but that's actually not going to be used right away. We know that in 3 days they sold 127 sundaes. So what I'm going to do is make a ratio. All right, it's going to be 3 days is on top, and 127 represents sundaes. And they want to know how much money they're going to make in the month of June. Before we figure out how much money they're going to make in June, we want to figure out how many sundaes they sold in June. So the number of sundaes we don't know. But the month of June, you do need to know the number of days. And that we do know. In June there are 30 days. So we're going to put 30 here. So in 3 days they made 127 Sundays. In 30 days we don't know how many. And we're going to cross multiply and solve to figure out how many Sundays they sold in June, and then we can figure out how much money they made. So we've got 3 times x, or 3x, equals 127 times 30. 127 times 30 is 3,810, and then you divide both sides by 3. You're going to get 1,270 Sundays. So that's how many Sundays they sold, but they want to know how much money that they're going to make. And since they are $2.25 each, you just do 1,270 Sundays times $2.25 each. You're going to end up with $857.50 that they made for the month of June on Sundays. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. You just have to read it very carefully and figure out, okay, I can't find out how much money they made right away. I got to figure out how many Sundays first, and then I can figure out how much money. All right, so let's go to the back. The back is pretty much the same idea. Let's see, I think most of these should be pretty good. We've got, number 7. The sides of a triangle are extended in a ratio of 7 to 4 to 9, and you've got the perimeter. So remember, perimeter, you add up all the sides. The sides aren't exactly 7, 4, and 9. It's going to be multiples, so 7x plus 4x plus 9x is going to equal 260. And then you can solve. You're going to add the x's. You get 20x equals 260. Divide by 20, you're going to get 13. That's x, but they want us to find the shortest side. Between 7x, 4x, and 9x, 4x is going to be the smallest. So 4 times 13, you're going to get 52, and then the units are going to be in inches. So don't forget the units. It'd be 52 inches for your answer. Let's see. For number 8, Sarah works at a sandwich shop. She earns $8.50 an hour. Summer's coming and she wants to buy new tank tops. The Gap is having a sale and is selling 2 tank tops for $12.50. She wants to buy 7 tank tops. How much will this cost her? And how many hours will Sarah have to work in order to have enough money to make her purchase? So the fact that she earns $8.50 an hour, we'll use that later. Right now it's 2 tank tops for $12.50. All right, so 2 tank tops for $12.50. Tanks, and then the cost is at the bottom. And this person, Sarah, wants to buy 7 tank tops. Since tanks is on the top, we'll put 7 on the top. And how much it's going to cost her, we don't know. So I'm going to put an x. We're going to cross multiply to figure out how much this is going to cost her. So 2x equals 7 times $12.50. You're going to get 2x equals $87.50. And then divide by 2, you're going to get x equals $43.75. I know there's other ways to solve this particular problem, but we're using ratios because that's kind of our main focus for this unit. So we've got $43.75 is how much she spent on the tank tops. Now we can answer the second question of how many hours will Sarah have to work in order to make enough money to make her purchase. Well, she makes $8.50 an hour. So we got to take the $43.75 that it cost her, and we need to divide it by this $8.50 to see how many hours she needs to work. It ends up being about 5.15. So assuming that she can only work whole hours, not like half hours or 0.15 hours, you would say that Sarah needs to work about 6 hours. All right. So she has to work for 6 hours to pay for the tanks. All right. Okay. We've got a couple more, and then that's pretty much it. Number 9, Tracy gave her dad a model pirate ship for his birthday. The ratio of the model to the actual size is 1 to 1250, 1 inch to 1,250 inches, big difference. If the model is 16 inches long, how many feet long would the actual pirate ship be? We'll worry about the feet in a little bit. So here's what we've got. We have to set up a proportion. Ratio of the model to the actual is 1 all over 1250. Okay, so we're talking about inches and inches. This is the model on the top, and the actual is on the bottom. All right, and then it says if the model is 16 inches long, so model's on top, so 16 inches will go on top. We're going to figure out, first of all, how many inches the actual pirate ship is, and then we can convert it to feet. Since this was both in inches, these are both going to have to be in inches. So we're going to cross multiply. When you cross multiply, you get x times 1, or just x, equals 16 times 1250. You're going to get x equals 20,000 inches. All right, but it wants it in feet. So something that you have to remember is that 12 inches is 1 foot. So we're going to take the 20,000 inches and we're going to divide it by 12. All right, and that'll tell us how many feet it is. It doesn't work out to be the nicest number. It ends up being 1,666.67 feet. All right, so we just divided it by 12 to figure out how many feet it is. All right. And then for number 10, this is the last one. This one's a little bit tricky. We've got the ratio of guys to girls is 7 to 4. But then they say the total number of people, so not guys, not girls, but total number of people at the concert is 13,750. How many more guys were at the concert than girls? So what we need to figure out is our total, and we got to figure out how to set up this proportion, because we don't want to do 7 to 4 if we know the total. So what you can do is, because this is guys to girls, 7 to 4, our total, if you add the 7 and the 4 together, is 11. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a proportion. Let's do, you can either solve for the guys or you can solve for the girls first. It doesn't matter. Let's do the guys. If we do guys, guys was represented with the 7. So 7 all over the total, 11. Okay, so we're doing guys over total. Equals. And then we don't know how many guys were at the concert, but we know that there was a total number of 13,750 people at the concert. So that's kind of the trick with this one, is if it mentions total number of people, you can add the guys and the girls numbers here and add them up and get 11. So guys to total, 7 to 11, equals x over 13,750. Cross multiply, you're going to get 11x equals 96,250. Divide by the 11, you're going to get 8,750 guys. Okay. And then you could set up another proportion to find the girls, but really, we know the total, and we know how many guys there are. So if we just subtract, all right, we're going to do 13,750 total people minus the 8,750 guys. We're going to know that there's now 5,000 girls that were at the concert. And the question says, how many more guys were at the concert than girls? Well, if you look at the difference between 8,750 and 5,000, there were, I guess, there were 3,750 more guys than girls. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So that's how we set up our proportions. It's just word problems today, but very similar to yesterday. All right, so the homework is the next day in the homework guide, and the problems are listed up on the board for you, and the rest of the time is yours to work on that. So I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day.